Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Strange Origins podcast. This is the Loki finale edition, and then we are joined by a special guest. His name's Yitskhaq, otherwise known as Kang.
Kang. Shaq the Kang.
Our resident Marvel expert. He is coming from his archives to come and chat with us. But yeah, he's been following along the Loki episodes as well. I'm obviously joined by Rod, by the way. Who cares? But I'm kidding.
I mean, it's about each other, so it's cool.
Yeah.
But he has been following along like we all have on the journey that the Lokis have been taken. And we got brought back to this final episode, which was actually insane for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me this episode was fucking packed full of so much information, all thrown at you at once.
I'm pretty sure I had like a brain aneurysm at the end of the episode. I was just like,
definitely,
zoned out. I was like, man, there's so much to take in. It's just like, damn.
Well, let's start from the beginning. You know, we have like some really cool actual moments that we saw. So the beginning, like opening credits, there was a bunch of like layered like speeches being played.
Speeches, from the old Marvel movies.
Yeah, Avengers. Yeah.
And then it started overlapping.
So we heard I don't know, let's see what we heard. What, Black Panther saying Wakanda forever.
Yeah, Wakanda forever.
We heard Iron Man.
Marvel saying fight faster or something.
Yeah, we heard Iron Man's like phase blasters. I think we heard. There was a couple of other things as well that we heard.
Hulk smash as well.
Yeah.
I had that one.
Yeah, there were some good ones in there, but just a couple that you guys might not have known or picked up on. Like by the way, I did not do this myself. I looked this up. There was a speech by a philosopher in there talking about time, and he is apparently the leading philosopher of time is not what we think. It's not linear, right? It's like a disc, and it's like if you see it, if you were a fourth dimensional creature, you'd see everything like that. Do you know what I mean?
See.
So if you was a fourth dimensional creature, you would be able to see all of time happening at the same time, which is guess who we're talking about here? It's Kang.
Yeah,
so
Kang, yeah.
It's really quite interesting they put that in.
Yeah, the timeline was a ring as well when they got in.
Yeah, and that's exactly how Kang was meant to be. Like how he was trying to sustain it, wasn't he? He was trying to sustain it in one long timeline. But
in a loop. In a loop of the time, which is weird.
We also heard Nelson Mandela giving his speech.
Yeah, that's another one I heard.
And we heard another one. I forget her name, unfortunately, but she was a lady that was giving a poem. Like she was reading out a poem. There was one, and there was another one that was a Indian, I think, women's rights activist. So there was a couple of them, which was weird.
And you had that little girl as well, which I was.
Greta Thunberg. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it was like a lot of like things all at once trying to show like
powerful movements.
Yeah, and it's powerful movements, and then it was one of those things where I was thinking to myself at the time actually was like, is he trying to show, or are they trying to show that they didn't? This was all scripted, like that he made all this happen. You know, it was quite an interesting thing.
I like where he's going with this, but I also think that because they also put like our like timeline, like Greta Thunberg, all this, like, are we like a part of this? Are we like somehow stacked?
Well, you say our timeline. Yeah. But if Greta Thunberg exists, or let's say Iron Man exists, that also means he exists in every other universe. So you say it's our timeline, but it's not. Because our timeline, if it was our timeline, we'd have Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America. We don't have those people. So
we like caught up here, you know.
is it, or is it kind of showing that each like different reality is clashing in one?
Yeah.
Now? Like it's the start of it.
Well,
like, everything's merging into one. Like everything that's like iconic is starting to merge.
Yeah, because what we're seeing now is I mean, we all know the creation of the multiverse of madness, the Secret Wars, all this thing is all coming out.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Let's give Yitskhaq a platform. If you would like to explain to our viewers, if they don't know what it is, what the Secret Wars are.
Okay, so the Secret Wars is a story where there's a guy called the Beyonder he's the guy who made Infinity Stones, and he had a vision where humanity was at peace. and he wanted to believe if this vision was true. And what he saw was a glimpse of a person taking control of like the whole world.
Right.
So what he did, he made a pocket dimension of a few superheroes at first and a few supervillains in this in one Earth. No, in one universe. Like, I think it's the Milky Way. So
Yeah.
So he made like a small pocket dimension. He gave a few Infinity Stones to some characters and a few to others. The ones that got it were Doctor Doom had a few, Thanos had a few, and I think it was Reed Richards was the other one.
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah.
So yeah, something like that. And then, so yeah, there are different parts of it. At the end of the day, at the end of the whole thing, I'm gonna skip a lot because
it's a lot.
Doctor Doom ends up being in control of the whole universe, and actually, first ever time, Earth and the galaxy was at peace when he took control.
Yeah,
and that's beyond the. Yeah,
I was gonna say that's what ends up happening is in this Secret Wars. Basically, there's different variants of other superheroes all fighting each other on the Earth, which basically you're gonna see like multiple Thors fighting each other, multiple Scarlet Witches fighting it, potentially at least, and you're gonna see all these people fighting each other.
The Council of Reeds as well might appear.
Yeah.
Well,
that would be fucking sick.
It's going to touch on that actually because it's the Council of Kangs as well.
Exactly the complete opposite.
Which is like was the original, I think. Council of Kangs was first.
Yeah, Kang is a descendant of
yes,
Reed Richards.
which I did not know until starting this series. I did not realize that he was like from the 30th century, like way like down the line,
way in the future.
Obviously, by the way, if people are if it's slipping their minds of who Reed Richards is, he's Mr. Fantastic. He's a stretchy man, stretchy man, Stretch Armstrong.
Pretty much stretchy man.
But basically, like that all boils down to the beginning of this, which is the divergence of the sacred timeline and getting to the point where this is now unstable, I guess, but still stable in itself. I mean, the original Kang, in the comics at least, it was every time he time traveled, he made a version of himself.
Yeah, made a version.
This is completely different. This one. This is like there will be multiple variants inevitably. Like there's going to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about time traveling. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that the little changes that they're doing here is to keep people on their toes, the people that know about comics and stuff? Like, or do you think they just want to take it in a different direction in terms of like they don't want to do too much time travel because we saw what happened in Endgame and that got confusion.
Personally, I like the change because it also gives more of Kang as a more of a diverse character because Kang's personality, in most of Kang's personalities of different variations are usually the same. Whereas this one now, because they explain that there's some good, some bad.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it seemed like the good is the one that prevailed, but we haven't seen the bad side of Kang, like the more tyrant.
I mean, he said himself, like the one that's coming is like worse than he will ever be.
More dangerous. Yeah, more dangerous.
Well, we know that one is coming is Kang the Conqueror. The one that we saw isn't Kang the Conqueror.
Kang Conqueror, no.
That's Kang, but like later on. So
it's like he's called something. It slips my mind. He's called like the Immortal or something like that. Yeah. So he's basically in the comics it's completely different, but in this world he is the last line. He is the oldest and the one that was in control of the TVA, who made a TVA and who stopped all the war. So they've kind of taken it in a different direction, but They So I mean, we predicted it was Kang. That was our first prediction. Our second was a little. I mean, our second one was like a little bit more exciting. Either Doctor Doom or Loki would have been cool.
Yeah.
But I'm still happy with Kang either way. I also think the actor, by the way, like side note, is sick. Like for this.
I love that, man. Because the way they introduced him is like this, like it almost feels like Joker-esque.
Yeah.
Very theatrical.
Yeah. But you know what? Do you know what I love about this is that the way they've introduced him, right, is absolutely not how he's going to be in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Great.
Because it's a completely different character. Everyone's going to be like, who the fuck? Wait, what's going on? Like, and it's just to show that the variance is completely different.
But it shows that like not to reveal like what he's actually gonna be like.
Yeah, and what did we say? What did we say in episode 5? Was like it will kind of be, if they were going to reveal Kang, it would be a soft reveal. It wouldn't be who he would be. It's exactly what we said because you'd spoil it. I mean, Ant-Man is you know, I mean, actually, Ant-Man does have certain links to Kang. Like,
many.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is that he creates his metropolis. I can't remember what it's called. But he makes his city.
Chronopolis.
That's it. He makes his city in a bubble in the what's it called? The subspace place, the quantum realm, and that's actually like where his city is, and that's where he like basically gets power. Now I want to run a theory by you guys, like, and I want to hear each of your points like about this, right? So basically, there's a little still that you can see in Ant-Man. I think it's the Wasp. You know what I'm talking about, Rod. Where you can see a city. Now everyone just thought this was just like a little rumor, like a little like a nod. The theory is that the Kang the Conqueror already exists.
In there. Yeah.
And he already exists in his whole Marvel universe, and he's been pulling the strings from the very start. And it's actually him that's been pulling the strings, not the other Kang.
Mm-hmm. Yo, is that why? Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Well, but that was pretty much it. Yeah, go on.
Hank Pym's wife, is she the one going to be manipulated, and then like
it's
gonna is she the messenger? Is she his messenger?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the theory, is that this other Kang is actually already here. Like it wasn't like he was created by what Sylvie did, even though she's a bitch. But even though it wasn't created by Sylvie, he was just like planned this from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember when he said that only one. Well, he didn't really say that only one Kang survived. He said that only left was me, but he never really confirmed that every single variation of himself is gone.
Yeah. And he kind of confirmed that they weren't gone anyway. He said that like he won, and the timelines are now separate, like they're now one timeline. But it doesn't mean they don't exist, because we know variants can exist. We know Sylvie's existed, Loki's existed. There's all those other Lokis that exist. So clearly variants can exist without the timeline branching. What's his name? The Richard E. Grant guy, the basically guy who played classic Loki in The Void. He said that he was living on a planet somewhere on his own, isolation, and he wasn't making a branching timeline. So you can have variants that exist in a sacred timeline. So
if they're not abrupt time, and quantum doesn't affect time whatsoever.
Exactly, and if he's in the quantum realm, he doesn't technically exist. Like, but yeah, no. The next,
I like it.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's true. Then I get more brownie points.
Yeah.
But
I remember because I watched the video as well about that about Ant-Man when he goes into the quantum to save Hank Pym's wife. You actually see him when he keeps zooming in to get smaller and smaller. You actually see the castle, and then goes past the castle again.
Yeah.
So the castle in the corner, I think it's at the bottom left of the screen or something like that.
No, I think it's the top left.
I think top right. I thought.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like,
I know it's one in the corner.
But this is what I was saying. It's like to myself anyway, because I talk to myself. But this is what I was saying. Like with Thanos, like that was exactly when Thanos was doing his shit, which means they planned this for so long. Like they planned the whole Kang thing, like it was gonna be way before Thanos, or way after. Sorry, Thanos.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. Like, I'm wondering, like, if people are going to be looking through, like, what Phase 5 is going to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, is there any villains that we haven't seen? Like,
they probably already planned it, man.
Probably.
Because, like you said, when it comes to, like, when they were going back to, like, the whole Captain America thing, like him having the image of, like, when he first had that sort of, like, car shield.
Yeah. Yeah. And they had the photo.
It's fully, like, it's so, like, well thought out, man. It's crazy. Like, it wouldn't be surprising to, like, for them just to already have like Phase 5 like semi-planned already.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
I'm gonna make a massive like a prediction. About Phase 5. Yeah, I think Phase 5 is gonna be was it like it's kind of like Secret Wars, but it's kind of like Civil War, where so you have the Dark Avengers, you have Doctor Doom, Kang the Conqueror. So you have like 3 different types of enemies all battling. So you got one that's doing like time, you got one that's actually based on the present, so that's Dark Avengers, that in the world, and then you got Doom who's going through dimensions, going through different what's called again places, so like and things like that, places. So you got time, you got the actual present galaxy, and then you got the ones that's going through different
honestly they're prepping it, like prepping that sort of stuff, like the galactic sort of scale, because I mean, even Galactus like could be coming, like
I just wonder though, like, because like they've pretty much killed off every villain, like that's ever like been a threat to them, right?
In which one? Which way?
And like so like Thanos, dead.
Thanos is just one. Like
Yeah, I know, but so you have like even like the smaller ones like the one in like from Iron Man, from like all the small like from the like other films that they've already like killed them off, like
but that like in terms of big ones.
Yeah, big ones is only Thanos is the only one. Ultron still can come back because all he got was disconnected from the internet.
Yeah, there's also was it Galactus? Yeah. There's Doctor Doom. Like
we got Doom. Yeah, we got Apocalypse. We got Magneto still to like pop up.
Like the whole of the X-Men haven't even.
Jean, if they do, we've got X-Men. They can do Jean, but I don't want to do.
I really hope they don't do Jean Grey, because please to God.
False clap, fucking Phoenix Force, get out of here, man.
Yeah, no. You got Mistress Death. You got Mistress Death.
Yeah.
As well. That's another one that they can put in.
That's what I'm saying. I think they've actually got quite a big repertoire of like people, especially with the multiverse thing now. They might be like doubling down and just putting like everyone in this. Like I mean, we've already got confirmation that Doc Ock from the original Spider-Man is going to be in the new Spider-Man. Like he said he is. All the other like Tobey Maguire and all that haven't said. Yeah, sorry, yeah. But none of the Spider-Mans like Andrew Garfield and all that have said they are going to be in it. But at this point, I'm wondering like, I mean, they're either not going to be in it and just the villains are going to be in it, or they're all going to be in it and it's going to be like a madness like film. I can't wait for it. But
we're gonna
let's stick on Loki for a sec. Like we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. But in terms of like what started this off, like because this is what I was thinking about today. Like we saw like the whole branching timeline, like regardless of like Kang saying that it was gonna happen always, like he knew it was gonna happen either two ways. Something started the branch, right, that we're currently on. And I've heard a couple of theories, and I'm wondering like what you guys think was the first like I guess the first branch that made us go onto this path of an alternate timeline. Because people say, I mean, the original argument is from the beginning of Loki. It was because Loki took the Tesseract. Is that true? No. Do you think that's where it started?
No. I genuinely think.
Yeah. Go on.
Personally, I genuinely think it's when I think it's genuine when Ant-Man came back.
Okay, that's interesting. What from the quantum realm? You mean?
Yeah, from the quantum realm. Yeah. Because think about a rat landing there. That's such a like niche situation to ever happen.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's a chance. It's a chance of it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one who changed. He's the one who changed the whole movie. He's the one who made everybody start time traveling. He's the one who, and he was the one who wasn't affected. So him coming back, doing this time skip, without getting like dusted.
So yeah, what we're referencing here, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, it's an Endgame. Ant-Man pretty much comes out of the quantum realm. He somehow gets out.
Yeah.
By a little rat.
I'll say somehow. I'll leave it to Mickey Mouse. He's the one who saved him.
Yeah.
And literally he pops out and he is basically 4. Is it 4 years?
4 years. Yeah.
It's 4 years. 5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of them. But he's 4 years in the future, and because time doesn't affect the quantum realm, as we've mentioned. And Yitskhaq thinks that a diversion in the timeline came from there. What about you, Rod? What do you think?
I think I would agree, because it makes sense, because like it's just like the whole. I can't even think like even before that, like when they went into the quantum realm to save.
So you think it's about the quantum realm, where when they tampered with that sort of thing?
Yeah, because it's already like I think it would make sense.
Because
like what do you think? Like
for me, I think it's my original theory of this is all Captain America's fault. I think he wasn't. He went to put back the stones, and then he went and spent the rest of his life in the past, which he really shouldn't have done. Like he stayed with Peggy. Like at the end of Endgame, by the way, again, if you don't know, the Captain America goes to put back all the Infinity Stones, but then goes back to Peggy, his lover, I guess, and stays there for the rest of his life until he gets old and decrepit, and he's at that time. Yeah. So to me, I think, especially with Falcon and Winter Soldier, like referencing Captain America so much, I think it boils down to him, and that might be why he might come back later to sort of like, because he's made this issue and he wants to solve it. For me, him going there, like, it doesn't get answered. No one answers that question. He shouldn't be allowed to live with Peggy for 40 years, let's say, with no consequences to the timeline. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
What about Red Skull though?
Red Skull?
Because he got teleported somewhere else.
Yeah, but I saw Red Skull said he lost his body. Technically, he's a soul.
Technically, that's true, and also, if you spend your life in isolation, I don't think you fracture the timeline, as we've already said. Like, Red Skull didn't get touched by anyone until they came for the stone.
Okay.
But that's just my theory. I think Captain America may have done a goof here, and he fucked up, and he now that might be one of the reasons why he might come back later. Again, I'm still holding on to hope that Captain America will come back. But I think it makes sense, because for me, like, I mean, somebody just moving like the Hulk not taking the elevator starts the whole chain of events of the Tesseract falling on the floor, going to Loki. That tiny little detail changed everything. Whereas like Captain America spending 40 years in the past, that doesn't change shit. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna come back to bite.
And then also as well, like him going back. That means technically he wasn't Iceberg. So Avengers Operation wouldn't start with Captain Marvel. It'd probably start with him.
It's so weird, isn't it? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, how do they explain this?
Yeah, because we don't know what time he stayed with Peggy up till they came, up till the present time. Because we know that he ages slow. That's one thing that's a fact.
Yeah, that's why he's still alive at the end.
Yeah, so we don't know how long he was alive for, like in the sense of like living with her.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I find it very strange. Like, and there's another thing I want to add on to that is we know from Endgame that the way they explain time travel is that if you travel into the past and change something in the past, you then when you come back into that reality that you've made, right? Doesn't that seem kind of different to what's happening in Loki though? Like he's traveled, right, and they've killed Kang, and then Loki gets pushed through the door, and now this reality doesn't even know who he is.
I took that the different way for me.
Go on.
Like I took that as in like, like he just got sent to a different universe.
See, I thought so.
Where Kang is actually not hiding behind anyone. He actually fully embraces him being the conqueror in that timeline.
See,
that's how I see it.
I took it in a different way. I took it as Kang has already conquered this, like that universe that Loki's been sent back to. Like, because why would Sylvie just send him back to an alternate reality? Like, it just seems kind of weird. Like, how she messed up like that. She's also kind of an expert using the tempad because she's been doing it for years.
I get it, but it's like with that tempad she was using, it didn't even have any control, anything. He was like can't even like was just pressing buttons.
Yeah, it is hard to like know. But then how does she know she was sending him back to safety then? By that logic,
exactly. We don't know.
You think Sylvie's like a fucking? She wanted to murder him? I don't know if she did.
She's a tech savvy.
Tech savvy. I don't know. I just feel like that when he gets sent back into that sort of reality, he's been sent there on a diverging path maybe, and it's already been conquered by Kang. Because they all seemed like they didn't seem scared of Kang either when they said like, "Oh, what does he want us to do? Just let them all branch." Like, it wasn't like, oh, what are we going to do if they all branch? It wasn't like they were questioning themselves like they're scared of him. It was almost like they were just going, oh, is that what he wants us to do? Kind of weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like they were scared of him, unlike they are scared of the Timekeepers.
Yeah,
I guess because the Timekeepers, none of them got to see them, so they didn't know if it was true or not.
See.
Whereas I think Kang showed himself and told them like, yeah, this is what I want to do, and they're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but you at least in your mind, you assume that Kang is meant to be like kind of a vicious dickhead, no? Like he's meant to be kind of like worse. Well, he's meant to be way worse than Thanos.
Apparently, he's supposed to be some sort of B-tier villain.
Well, not at least not in this universe. He's not.
Yeah.
He is in the comics. He is not like one of the big threats, but he is one of those ones where you can't leave alone.
It's a bit difficult because in the comics of Marvel, the top tier is like ending the galaxy and the universe and ending time, whereas B tier is like, oh, destroying the universe. but like the top tier is like ending time. So it's a bit the scale, as Yitskhaq said, is kind of like crazy.
Yeah.
B tier is still fucking like better than Thanos. If like this guy's B tier, Thanos is like D.
Thanos is like fucking D. He's like a D or E.
Yeah.
The thing is, this is where it gets weird. Like, when Thanos has the Infinity Stone, he becomes higher than him.
Yeah.
That one of the strongest beings. So I was like, alright, cool.
In that universe, though, right? But because this man can go through, or he can alter whatever.
That is the truth. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the time stone. He could just smack him whenever he wants. Like, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, but that's why the Infinity Stone is much more powerful in the comics than it is in the movies.
Yeah. Well, we also like
True,
if you're gonna take him from the comics, then you've also got to take Kang from the comics, which is time travel.
Comics.
He could literally just time travel to Thanos when he's a baby and slice his throat. So it's like,
But the thing is that that's why the time stone is busted, because the time stone in the comics is supposed to be time.
Yeah.
Like, it controls any time.
Yeah.
So if you have the stone, you're more powerful than Kang already.
Yeah. Well, that's why Doctor Strange is kind of nuts. So like, but but yeah, that brings me to like the point of, in the movie we saw like a good fight scene for once. Actually, I think the Loki Sylvie fight was actually pretty good. Rod's sitting there going,
I don't know. Again,
okay, look, compared to the rest of the fights is what I mean.
It's just this. I get it, right? But it's this one scene where they both jumped up for no reason, and Loki, he like flew, and she didn't even touch him, and I'm like, what choreography is this?
I thought he jumped.
It's like tumble flip. Yeah, it's like tumble flip. He did. That was so unnecessary. I was like, okay.
Okay, but like,
and also,
I did want to like touch on like, because in that fight scene you see Loki do a few moves, right? And I don't mean like moves as an acrobatic. I mean magic moves. And I'm sitting there going, I don't remember him ever doing these fucking moves.
Telekinesis, teleportation.
Yeah, man has got like new powers, like Kitty fucking from X-Men. Like he is, he has got some nut. Like he can move things to his hand now. He can move people out of the way. He can stop buildings from falling down. When did this happen?
Yeah, exactly.
I know he's been on some growth journey, but that's meant to be his personality, not his powers. It's like, what's going on here?
And there's one of those characters where if his personality changes, his powers grows.
I just like, I'm very confused. Like, especially with Sylvie. Sylvie as a character for me, I understand it, right? She got to the end. She got to the end goal, and she was like, "I'm finally going to achieve my life's work, right? What I've been trying so hard to do." But if you take 2 seconds to think about it, which is what Loki was preaching, which is why we're all on Loki's side, I'm saying, like, if you take 2 seconds to actually fucking think about it, right? You could also try and bewitch him and learn all of his fucking secrets in 2 seconds. You could find out if he was lying. This is the biggest plot hole for me, is Sylvie was, like, the whole point of it is Sylvie and Loki were trying to determine if he was lying or not. Sylvie can bewitch people. They fucking bewitched Eliath, a time-consuming god, right? Why did they not just go to Kang, bewitch him, and find out if he was lying or not? I'm very confused by that.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kang would let them touch him.
Well, remember, at a certain point, he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and plus he also took out his time pad.
Yeah, he took everything off. He stripped himself naked. Like, he was like...
So it's just like...
But my only comeback to myself, basically, is that at that point, he had already planted the seed of mistrust to Sylvie and Loki. He had already made Sylvie think that Loki wasn't to be trusted.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, when he said as well, like, I tried to get people to come in and take over me, but you guys came in 2.
Yeah.
So in this, he still thinks that he wants 1. He doesn't want 2.
True.
So he's trying to ask, like, which one is it? Like,
that's because
he doesn't know which one is going to be, so he wants to know which one.
So that's the question that I pose as well. It's like, what happens to Sylvie after this?
I think she becomes Sorry, I'm gonna walk out for a bit. She's gonna become like the keeper for a bit until Kang takes over.
Do you think?
Yeah, I genuinely think. Because
what else she's gonna do in there?
I think she's gonna try, because she's got a tempad. I think she's gonna try and find Loki again and help fight Kang. I think she's gonna become a permanent like hero in air quotes. I think she's gonna try and like actually help stop what she's fucking started, because she's dumb.
Yeah.
She can't 2 minutes to think. Like
almost.
Yeah. Because I think like one Kang's gonna come up and said, "Oh yeah, I somehow stumbled across it," and she's gonna try to test them if it's the right one to take over or not.
Yeah, I mean the last.
But then, at the same time, So what's the point then?
Yeah.
Just go back on this.
Because the last thing we hear Kang say is, "I'll see you again soon." Like, he knows this is all a cycle. He knows that he eventually will be the oldest living Kang and stops the war again. Like, he know. So that also begs another question: is like, how many times has this cycle been done?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
like, because he's at the end of time here. He's like, that castle is at the end of time. This has already happened. So how many times is this going to keep on happening? Are we seeing something brand new, or are we seeing like something that's happened like 20 billion times before?
Like,
it's probably because again, if it's going in that timeline when it's just going around in a circle, I think that kind of gave you a hint of just like it's just constantly like a cycle, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's the Matrix argument again.
Yeah,
it's literally like
that's a smart idea, though.
What?
For reboots.
Oh right, yeah. I'm wondering as well if they're going to do like, I mean, that might help with the What If series and stuff like that, like all these multiverse things. But like, there's that question as well of like, there's a point where Kang says to Sylvie, like, "Oh, like, do you really trust Loki?" Right, in that kind of vein, and that's when she starts to not trust him, right? And it's the same argument in the Matrix where, like, if anyone hasn't seen it, Neo knocks over a plant pot and it falls and breaks because the Oracle says to him, "Oh, don't worry about the plant pot," before he's broken it. And then she says, "Would you have broken that plant pot if I didn't tell you about it?" It's that sort of thing. It's like, would this have all happened if the Kang didn't do these things? Like, the timeline didn't need to be destroyed. He brought them in there, like, and kind of nudged them in a certain direction, which makes me think that there's a Kang behind this all along. And do you know what I mean? It's one of those things. So I don't know. Like, what do you think about that? It looks like you're trying to process a lot of information, Yitskhaq, of like what's happening.
I'm thinking because like what you said, like, is there another Kang along? Because remember that, like you said, there's different sections of like. Technically, there should be different sections of end of time.
There should
be things
yeah.
that are not affected by time. Like quantum realm, is not affected by time.
Yeah,
it is, but it's very slow. Like that point that it's frozen.
That's when you mention that, right? It brings up a question to me. Like, the whole, at least for me, I think the whole last episode was questioning whether or not free will was a thing, right? Whether or not your choices are your own.
Yeah.
But are people inside the quantum realm? Can they do free will? They seem to be outside of time. And also, what's her name? I don't remember her name, but like the administrator girl. The one who's like friends with Morbius, like, Mobius.
Ravana.
Yeah, that's it. She says like free will, and she like literally says like the only person who has free will is the person in power. So it's almost like Kang again was the one doing this. It's not like he was made to do this. He was the one who wanted to be in power all along.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions here, like, which is part of why I've seen a few people actually upset about the finale.
Wait. Sorry.
You go on.
Because you said if like time doesn't affect quantum law, it does very slow, right? But it's still affecting it, even though it's slow. Yeah. It's still affecting it. Like,
but to a point where it's like time is technically frozen.
Yeah. It's so slow that it doesn't affect it.
It's still happening because you see from like the Hank Pym's wife, she still ages for some reason the same age as he is, which was strange to me. Which I was like,
I don't understand how she got older and then she came out of the quantum realm and went back in.
Yeah, and I'm like,
we could do a whole podcast on how fucking shit Ant-Man is and how much I hate it. But like, honestly, like
she should be younger. Yeah, technically she should be younger.
I'm sure I'm pretty sure, like, just to touch on that, I'm pretty sure they explain it in the movie, but I haven't seen that movie. I refuse to watch it again. So
because in Endgame, remember, Ant-Man said like when he went in, it felt, and he came out, it felt like seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like instant. He almost said it's almost instant.
I mean, she was in there for a lot longer than he was, but I don't think it should have been like that.
4 years difference, and for Ant-Man it was seconds. Like it felt like instant seconds.
Yeah, I think he went deeper though than her.
Yeah, he did, and that's the thing. And I think the more deeper it is, the slower it is.
Yeah,
I think there's a point where actual time actually stops.
It's like Inception, basically. Like the deeper you go, the longer it is, or slower it is. Yeah, but and then when we get to the end of the whole thing, she's killed him. We see Loki go back and not be recognized by Mobius, which is really sad. Like, we all like, oh goddamn! Like, it was. So are we assuming? Like, he didn't know. That's the thing. He didn't even say that. He just said, "Who are you?" No. He just said, "Who are you?" Which makes you think that he doesn't even recognize a Loki. So in that reality, they didn't even care about Lokis. Lokis weren't even a thing. It's weird because they say in the first episode in the TVA that the one variant that keeps coming in more than anyone else is Loki. So for one TVA for Mobius not to even know who Loki is kind of weird.
But like, for me, it's like because I guess Loki all look different, and plus he wasn't wearing the usual Loki stuff. He was wearing like TVA gear.
True,
like,
but but like we did see, even when we saw all the variants of Loki in that one place, there was about 4 of them that looked like our Loki.
Him. Yeah.
So, and you got to admit, like the TVA probably see a lot of Lokis. You're telling me none of them saw his face ever, like. Especially because Mobius has been there for a long time. He's been doing that for a long time because time doesn't work there. I don't know. It's a weird one. The last thing I wanted to touch on for me anyway was that there will be a fucking season 2. Like I did not see that coming because Disney pretty much came out and said that all these series will be one season. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy it is though because the way it ended, it felt like they had to explain more.
So did you guys predict there would be a season 2? Because I didn't. I had no idea.
I didn't predict it, but from watching the ending and how where it ended, where Loki's just standing there looking at the statue of Kang, which I was like, I saw it from the get go.
Like it made sense, right?
Yeah, it made sense. Yeah, I was like, remember when I told to Jack Rod, when you watch the first episode, you see like 3 of them like kind of like praising for one of them.
Yeah, and that's the Kang thing.
Yeah. Door in the middle, yeah.
Well then, that's what begs the question then. So season 2, is this going to be like Loki's going to be outside the movies for a little bit, like trying to deal with this like sort of situation?
Maybe it's a Secret War,
or is he going to be appearing in multiple movies as like a guy coming in, going like Deadpool, kind of like to be like, guys, like I fucked up. Like, it's interesting. I don't know how it's going to work. Really,
I think Loki's going to be those characters where he's going to be missing for a while until Kang comes into like a big. I think Kang's going to be like a massive like.
Oh yeah, what is this? This is like Kang will be the new Thanos. Like I think we already know this.
Or the new Ultron, where it's like a threat where it could like mess up like a big villain.
Or do you think like Kang could be maybe the Avengers movie? Because we know there's another Avengers coming. Like. But the overarching person is someone different. Because if that's the case, I haven't seen any hints for an overarching villain yet, or at least I don't know who it could be.
This is my theory. So I think it's gonna be like that's what I'm saying. I think there's gonna be like 3 different types of villains. So you're gonna have the Dark Avengers because the way it's setting up, you already got John Walker. You already have Black Widow.
True.
That's been announced. If Spider-Man actually puts Norman Osborn, then he's probably gonna be a massive factor to that. So until the Spider-Man movie, that's the only way I can confirm.
They're setting up a whole lot.
I don't know. I think for me, it's going to be after. It's going to be after Quantumania or Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, no,
it has to be, right? Because
I think Fantastic Four is going to probably start the overarching villain.
Do you think they're going to introduce X-Men?
They have to. Yeah. Deadpool's already in it. They did like a little trailer for it. Deadpool's already part of the MCU.
Oh, and actually, that is true. The last thing I did want to touch on was we finally know the reason why the Eternals are getting involved. Because it was, everyone thought, when the first trailer popped out for Eternals, we thought, oh, it's because of Thanos. They've come down and they're like, this is the reason why we have to get involved now because people got snapped. And then the trailer popped out and we were like, oh, they're talking about Thanos like it was a joke. And then now we see that the reason they're getting involved is because there's going to be loads of fucking Kangs killing everybody in every universe to ever exist.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The madness of the multiverse.
Yeah. Literally.
Can I just throw this theory out there?
Oh, go ahead.
I think Renslayer is Miss Timeline.
You think she's a... Wait, what's her name? Miss... it's not Miss Timeline, what's her name? It's Miss...
Miss Time? Miss Time? What the fuck?
Miss Time, yeah, maybe the little animation thing.
The animation.
I think she's Renslayer.
Could be. Actually, it's just... you mentioning that has literally just reminded me of my last point. Thank you very much. We all forget, by the way, what Miss Time actually did. She went to her, Renslayer, gave her a piece of paper or codex or whatever, and said, "Oh, he thinks this information would be a lot better," and then she went. My theory is she's gone to see the actual Kang.
Yeah.
Because what did she say? She was like, when she left, she was like, "Oh, I'm going to. Where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to find free will." And the thing she said just before that was the only person who has free will is a person in power.
One power, yeah.
She's going to the fucking quantum realm, and she's going to see Kang the Conqueror. Is what I think.
So much.
Rod just looked like he was very like, yes, that's gonna happen. I don't know. It seems interesting.
I mean, yeah, it's a good theory.
The last thing I want to touch on is what was your guys' favorite points in the whole series, actually, not just the last episode.
Whole series.
What was your favorite moments? Because I'll start off with mine.
Go on.
I think the whole expanding on Loki as a character, like him, like, because I always liked Loki. I know a lot of people liked Loki, but they didn't really care much about him. He was always someone who lost, basically. Yeah. For me, he really came out of his own, especially because Tom Hiddleston's such a great fucking actor. Like, for me, my favorite moments was, like, even though the train episode was filler arc, it was literally, like, such a sick, like, moments that happened.
Oh, when he started, like, singing and, like, drunk.
Yeah, singing drunk, and you start to see Loki for Loki. I felt like. What about you guys?
Yeah, you kind of got the Asgard feel from
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what's been missing since the movie. Asgard's been missed, like, a lot. Like, it hasn't been represented for a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems as though it's gone. Like, it did. Yeah.
For me, it would be what I think one for me was like, and even our Loki, it's just the crocodile Loki.
Oh, alligator Loki, let's go.
One more Loki,
dude. There's already people calling for a spin-off between you know the classic Loki and alligator Loki. Yeah. They want them to. They want to see the adventures of those two.
That would be so sick. And the second one would be, again, I'm a rom-com type of guy, so I like the whole ending scene with them two just like finally fully embracing some weird incestuous shit.
Well, they finally did, and then she kicked him through a portal and stabbed the fucking creative time. So
no, it's just before where Loki actually like touches her on the shoulder and be like,
yeah,
I just want you to be okay, and I'm like,
that was really heartfelt. Yeah, I'm not gonna
lie. I think those two are definitely my top moments in that one.
Yitskhaq, do you have a final one?
Me? Oh.
I know you did say that you definitely enjoyed Loki more than you thought you were going to.
I definitely did. Because it was like, at first I was like, okay, it's about variant Lokis. I was like, alright, cool. I had some ideas going to do with Kang, but I was thinking, how the hell is he going to work under Kang? Like, how is he going to implement?
Yeah.
But I can't lie. I would say Sylvie is probably my biggest highlight because it's technically Lady Loki, but not.
Yeah. It's kind of different, isn't it?
It's different, but it's like, there's one thing about Marvel. They know how to make villains have reasons of what they're doing.
Relatable reasons.
That's why I can't wait for relatable reasons. Yeah. That's why I can't wait for Doctor Doom or Magneto to be in the MCU because that's the reason why they're one of my favorites.
Would be disgusting.
Yeah, because it's like
would be nuts.
Yeah, Sylvie's probably my biggest highlight. Like, yeah, she does some dumb things that I'm like, okay, but at the end of the day, she had the reasons, and I'm like, alright.
I think that's. I agree because I think that's what Marvel have done so well is at making villains like. Not just I want to destroy the world. Baron
Zemo is a big example because him in comics is like, I'm like a mercenary kind of character,
and then inherit a bunch of money.
Yeah, that's it.
and then you find out how much he hates the superheroes and the super soldier serum.
Yeah,
and because he says his reason because it's like it corrupts the world.
Yeah,
like, super soldiers because it makes people think they have power, and like, that's one thing not. He has that kind of message Doctor Doom. It's like that he wants peace, not hierarchy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's about it for our time. We did an extra long episode today because we had a lot to cover. I do want to do like another one for Black Widow when eventually Rod sees it.
I'll probably do it sometime this week.
Yeah, and then if you guys want to see that, subscribe, like, share with your friends.
Let us know.
I want to thank you very much for Yitskhaq for joining us. Our Marvel expert.
Thanks for having me, man.
No worries.
Always having you here, man. Even though it's my first time being here with you.
Yeah, this is Yitskhaq's third time being here on the podcast. But for me, like, it actually just felt like having a conversation. I completely forgot we were recording sometimes, so it's pretty good. But again, like, subscribe, comment what you think is going to happen in season 2 with Loki. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with him. Is he going to finally like meet Kang, but it's a different version? We're probably going to find out more in Ant-Man, I guess. And then Alligator Loki hashtag. But we'll see. We'll see you guys next time, and thanks for listening. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.